And I am delighted to welcome Pri McGeehan from our People and Purpose team. She's head of employer brand for Deloitte Ireland, and she's also on the board of Ronald McDonald House. So she has hopefully a good insight into what you guys are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And she has over 20 years experience in the communication and marketing area. So you're very welcome, Pri, and thank you so much for giving up your time. I'm going to hand over to you now.
Thanks, Adrian, and morning, everyone. I'm not sure how many of you actually joined last year. I did a presentation last year on mainly on social media and how that supports. And I think this one is going to be a little bit more in-depth knowledge and a little bit more technical even. But as Adrian was saying, so I am Pri. I am the head of employer brand here. I do have a lot of experience in communications and marketing that will totally give up my age. And I also have this experience in Brazil and London and here in Ireland. I am on the board of Ronald McDonald's because they helped me. I'm actually a former resident of Ronald McDonald's. When my second child was born, he was born with an extreme heart condition. I was living in Donegal at the time, and the guys at Ronald McDonald's were there for me. And ever since, that was in 2016, and ever since, both my husband and I try to pay back as much as we can. As I said, I'm Brazilian. I live in Meath at the moment. I have 3 kids, a cat, and I'm a chef's wife. And now I have to do the plug, like this time of rugby. My husband is the head chef for the RFU, so he's fueling all our amazing players at the moment up in France. We're going to go through digital storytelling for nonprofits, for your organizations. And just to ensure that, I know that's going to be a lot of information, and it might be hard, and I do talk fast. So I'll do my best to have time at the end. But just to make sure that this time that we have together is both informative and impactful, I just want to clarify a few objectives of these presentations. And hopefully, I will help you guys improve your digital storytelling by the end. So the first objective is to provide you guys with a clear understanding of what digital storytelling is and why it is a crucial tool for nonprofits. We will explore how you can elevate your mission, engage audiences, and drive meaningful change. We're also going to delve into the essential elements that make storytelling effective, like knowing your audience, crafting compelling narratives, utilizing visuals, and engaging with your audience across all the digital platforms that are actually fitted for you. In today's digital age, data is also very powerful. I know that sometimes when you mention data, people get a little bit scared. But today I'm going to show you guys how important data-driven decision-making is and how you guys can leverage analytics to refine your storytelling strategy. But I'm not here just to talk. I also hopefully at the end, with the knowledge that you guys are gaining and a couple of examples that I have, you will feel empowered to actually use digital storytelling to make a meaningful impact in your organization's work. So I'm going to start just highlighting that nowadays we all know that the world is filled with pressing issues and an ever-increasing number of charitable causes. So the role of effective marketing for nonprofits can never be overstated. While the heart of a charity does lie in the mission, effective marketing is the vehicle that will actually help you guys drive the impact. But I know that some people think that marketing, it's about diverting resources away from your mission. It's not. Actually, effective marketing is about enhancing your ability to make a difference. It's about telling your story, connecting with your audience, and inspiring action. As I said, in a world filled with causes, as we see like more and more problems that we're all trying to solve, marketing is a driving force that it will guide supporters to your mission and it will drive meaningful change. So why does effective marketing matter so much for charities? Because it increases awareness. So many charities often deal with critical but sometimes lesser known issues. Marketing raises awareness to your causes, making sure that it's not overlooked. For example, we all remember the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, right? Like it gains global attention and significantly increased awareness of the disease. Like within 24 hours of that challenge being launched, more than 2.4 million videos were tagged on Facebook. And this is the power of effective marketing. Effective marketing also helps with your fundraising. Like, we all know the charities do rely on donations and grants to sustain the operations. So marketing helps attract donors and supporters that resonate with your mission. Engagement, like beyond financial supports, like we know that nonprofits need advocates for causes. So effective marketing can actually help you guys to get more supporters, and they can become vocal supporters that would spread the word and will help you mobilize others as well. And impact amplification, obviously, because like effective marketing allows you to magnify the impact of your programs, of your initiatives, and it will help you reach a broader audience that will also help you extend your services and help more people. And a well-planned marketing strategy also ensures sustainability of your charity and of your cause. It helps you build a loyal donor base and long-term relationship with supporters, with different businesses, with volunteers, and all that. So I have a question for you. And Adrian, I think you might need to help me here because I actually can't see the chats. But what challenges are your organizations facing in marketing? Do you want to shout out a few, if you can type, or I don't know if you can open your mic and give me some?
I'll let you know as soon as that. Oh, hard to reach audience. So someone said hard to maintaining a positive public image. Time and resource, so making sure what we do is effective. Cluttered marketplace. That's one that's come in. That's a few that have come in. Embracing and understanding digital marketing and showing impact. Resources, that's come through again. Balancing supporter and funding us, what the feel-good message of the org, with the feel-good message of the org, sorry. Stigma and having measurable KPIs.
Yeah, so that's absolutely brilliant, because we are going to go through all that. Like, I know that many charities operate on tight budgets, and it is challenging to try to invest in marketing efforts. But with creativity and strategic planning, we can overcome those resources constraints as well. But also competition. Like the charity, the nonprofit sector is highly competitive. Like, I know that we don't think in this way, but like it is. We are trying to reach people. We're trying to make them reach to their pockets. We're trying to get their attention, and there's so much out there. Trust as well, like transparency and authenticity are really, really vital to maintain trust. And I'm going to show you guys as well, like we're going to talk a little bit about the ethical side of marketing as well. And yeah, measuring impact. Demonstrating the impact of donations is absolutely crucial as well. So all the marketing activities that you guys are trying to organize and are organizing must align with those measurable outcomes. And we need to try to show that the donors are making a difference. But yeah, information overload as well. And the digital divide, like I know that not everybody has equal access to the digital world. And privacy concerns as well, I think a very big point nowadays. All the changes, like social media especially, like all the algorithm changes, like everything's constantly moving and advancing. And quality, because we know that sometimes putting something out there that even though it was meant well, if it's not well executed, it might actually harm your brand more than help. And actually, so yeah, thank you for your input.
Sorry, yeah. Just your last point there, that was one I missed, and that speaks to your last point. One of them was justifying marketing costs on things like good photography. Yeah, so to around quality, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually going to talk about I'm going to talk about this a little bit as well, because collaboration and partnerships really help charities. Sometimes your volunteers might be a photographer. No, one of them might be a photographer, a videographer, or somebody who has a lot of experience that can actually help you. You know, instead of giving their time with fundraising, they can actually give their time with photos, with videos and stuff like that. So we're going to cover this as well. But also, like, we are living in the digital age, and that is time with exceptional connectivity. It's easy access to information, and as I said, like almost non-stopping technical advantages and advances. Sorry, I didn't have enough coffee yet. And advancements. And this does offer you guys like unparalleled opportunities to connect to your supporters and to actually empower them to share their stories. And this is really key as well when we're talking about digital marketing for charities. But we all know that navigating this landscape, this technical and never stopping landscape takes a lot of adaptability, and you need to understand your audience. You need to connect with your audience, and you need to commit to keeping trust and transparency. Like this digital landscape offer many opportunities. Like a local charity, if you know, like a small charity in Ireland can reach global supporters with the proper use of social media and digital marketing. You can have real-time communications. Like the digital platforms actually help you guys to instantly update your supporters with initiatives, with your wins, with urgent needs. And just going back to Ronald McDonald's, like we do have that weekly shout out, or sometimes a monthly shout outs, asking for donations for something specific. Like now they're all talking about Halloween. So the charity put it out there on LinkedIn. They leverage LinkedIn really well. And they put on LinkedIn, they ask, like, they're just asking for, you know, fancy dress costumes for the kids and all that kind of stuff. And so, like, using your social media for things like that, it's really, really important. And, but also the diversity that we have in media channels, like, you need to try to understand, when you understand your audience, you're also going to understand which channels there are, which channels they're visit the most, which channels they're more active, because that will actually help you with your overall marketing strategy. And data, like digital data and digital tools have, there's so many tools out there in digital, like Google has so many free tools that you can use to actually understand your data analytics, and you can track your audience behaviors. You can make better decision making, and also refine and redefine your messaging and strategy sometimes. And engagements, like social media and all the online communities give you so much options and platforms for engagement. You can ask your supporters to share the experience. You can use their user-generated content and connect with other people and actually grow your community through that. You can also host virtual events. You can also do live feeds of events that you're doing, and all that to keep generating that engagement with your supporters. But now we're going to dive into digital storytelling. And I think you guys had a session on storytelling before, earlier on the week. So I'm not going to go into details on the full breadth of storytelling. I'm just going to focus on the digital aspect of it, because digital storytelling is really powerful narrative technique that uses digital media, which is text, images, audio, and video, to convey a compelling and emotional story. It allows organizations like yours to share your mission, to share your goals, and to impact the society, and to actually try to impact and promote your cause in a way that captures the hearts and minds of your audience. We're going to touch on audience as well. So what is digital storytelling? And I heard this once, I kind of kept it with me, that's like digital storytelling is the heartbeat of modern marketing. And it's not just a trend, it is a really powerful strategy that allows all organizations, but especially nonprofits, to engage, inspire, and mobilize audiences like never before. Like, we're going to explore a little bit how storytelling plays a pivotal role in amplifying the impact of your organizations. And it does through emotional connection. Emotional connection is the core, is the heart of the storytelling, of good storytelling, because you need to connect emotionally with people. Digital storytelling allows charities to share narratives, to foster empathy, and to build strong bonds with your audience, and a strong bond with your audience and your cause. But apart from that, digital storytelling also humanize the mission. So sometimes, like, quite a few nonprofits tackle really complex and large scale issues, or some less known issues, or very localized issues. And digital storytelling actually humanizes these challenges and allows you to feature real stories, and allows you to to share your wins, to share your victories, and to also give voices, put faces and voices and emotions behind numbers. Like I always say, people like to see people. So if you only have data, if you have a website with too much copy, too much text, too much information, and not real stories, not faces, like it's harder to connect. It's harder for your supporters to connect with you. And it's also digital storytelling also increases your engagement and advocacy. So as I said, like a good story inspire action, and it's not just informative, but also encourages your audience to donate, to become advocates for your causes. And those like people that actually engage seriously with your causes will play a really vital role in spreading awareness and mobilizing others to support. And it also amplifies the impact. So as I said before, like we do live in a digital area, and digital storytelling also helps you to amplify your impact, to amplify your message, to go global or to go viral and all that. And that will help you attract more volunteers, influence policy changes, or whatever the cause is. But you always need to keep in mind transparency and accountability. When you do share your story, when you do share your journey, it needs to be honest. It needs to be real. It can't be, you can't go the whole tabloid style things just to make it like sensationalist or anything like that. And I'm going to run through a few of the key elements of digital storytelling, and we can dive in deeper as well if you guys have any questions. So I'm just going to break it down a little bit further here. So like a good story, a good digital story has obviously a narrative core. So it's the meaningful and compelling message that you have, and usually involves your mission, the challenges that you address, and the people or the communities that you're serving. It's your narrative, like the base of your story should have a clear structure with relatable characters. And again, I'm going to go back to Ronald McDonald's because I'm closer to them. But like there's always a family involved, and we deal with families of sick children, and also like they do share those stories in a very powerful and beautiful way, not exploring the sickness but actually diving into all the supports that the house gives to the families of the children. So but also multimedia elements, like you can use text, you can use images, you can use audio, you can use videos, and all of these elements work together to create a really, really rich experience for your audience. Visuals in particular, as I said before, people like to see people. We don't want just to read stuff on screen. So like visuals have a really, really big impact. As I mentioned before, like it's your multi-platform presence. Like once you know your audience, you know where they are and how to reach them. So focus on maybe 2 digital platforms, maybe 3 considering your website as well, and just do really strong, be present, be vocal, be active on those platforms. Digital storytelling can also be interactive. So you can have interactive map of where you are. You can host quizzes. You can have clickable narratives that can actually take your audience through a journey with you. And user-generated content, like when you have your supporters actually sharing their stories with you, and you can and allowing you to use those on your story, on your narrative, and everything like that, you actually create this sense of community. You just it like the user-generated content is often overlooked, and it's one of the most powerful tools that you guys have. Like the people that work with you, your volunteers, your supporters, they have a reason to be doing all that. So when you tap into that, you actually open yourself to a world of possibilities and to many other people that might be going through the same. They're just afraid to speak out. And once they see that on screen, they actually get more involved and they actually get dedicated, and they might reach out for support, but they're also asking for support, but they might also reach out to offer support. So don't ever overlook that. And then again, we're going to touch on measurable content, measurable outcomes. I said about humanizing stories, and I want to just like dive a little bit deeper into that, because I think this is really important for charities, for nonprofits. So how do you humanize that? So like, as I said, your beneficiaries, your volunteers, they all have stories. So some people are comfortable sharing those on videos. Some people just want to write, like you can use that on blogs or everything, or you can use them on your websites or quotes throughout your social media and all that. So use those. But also your staff, your volunteers, they have reasons. So tap into those resources as well. Talk to them, ask them why they're supporting you. As I mentioned before, I'm supporting Ronald McDonald because they were there when I needed the most, and I will spend the rest of my life paying that back, because I don't think like my family would have stayed strong as they did if I didn't have the support of the house at the time. So I go, like, I do events with them and I tell the story, I tell my story, and this is like a really powerful tool that they have. Your success stories as well. When you win, when you get a big donation, or when you launch a big campaign, like share those little successes as well. We often think that on the charity side of things, we always need to tell the bad stories, tell the problems and all that. But to be honest, like the wins sometimes are even more important because they are the emotional appeal. Before and after as well, like if your charity supports I don't know, like children in need. So like, or a school, let's talk about education for a little bit. So like, let's say your charity supports education. So like show like how many people you supported, like what was the issue before? How did you solve it? What's the outcome? Like tell all the journeys and all that. And use quotes and testimonials as much as you can. I can never say we can never use that enough. Here in Deloitte, we use them. Ronald McDonald uses, like most charities that I know uses, and like you can get those quotes and testimonials from your supporters, from beneficiaries, from corporates that you deal with, and so on. So those, and I think I've touched that as well anyway, but like a few examples of how you can use digital storytellers is with videos. So they can be really short, 30 seconds for your social media. They can be like up to 2 minutes. I don't recommend going longer than that for your website. And you can have photos, like you can share photos. And again, we'll tap into collaborations, but like you can have a multitude of photos that you can create a little booklet that can be on your website, or you can create a reel on your social media. So like people like to see people again, and just use that. Blogs, get those testimonials, get those quotes, turn them into blogs on your website, share the link across your social media channels and social media stories. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat, like they offer like the short stories. So like you can get your people, you can get your volunteers, they're out on a walk, they're doing something just to share their own little stories on your stories, on your platforms. And that is really powerful and it goes viral usually. A few companies, a few organizations that are doing really good in my opinion. And I know you're gonna say, okay, Concern Worldwide, they're really big, but they employ immersive videos on their websites and on their social media platforms. They always use a very strong photo of people. They have blog posts that share stories of the people that they help around the world. Both the website and social media channels are extremely effective platforms for reaching out and engaging supporters. And yes, they do have a good budget, but you can also do incredible videos and graphics on a budget. Like Pieta House, I think their videos are brilliant. They are honest. They share personal stories of hope, of recovery, and they always come with very strong visuals as well. Jack and Jill does a really great job. The Simon Community does a really great job. The Cancer Society of Ireland does an extremely good job. It's very informative as well. The Red Cross. And you can see, like, yes, some of the charities are really big, but Pieta, for instance, they don't use budget for those videos that you see on screen, that you see on their social media. It's the people that they help that give them those videos. So it's user-generated content. So going back to the message a little bit, because at the heart of every successful storytelling strategy is a clear and compelling message. The message, your core message, it's your North Star. So we're going to explore a little bit of how you can define your charity's core mission. Few tips here. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys have a mission statement already. So I think this exercise for you is more to review it, to make sure that it's clear and it's purposeful. So you have your mission statement should align as well with your organization's core values. I touched before that sometimes many charities and nonprofits, like, you have complex issues. So the challenge is to distill those complexities into a simple and compelling message. Like using, again, going back to your visuals, like if you use illustrations to support with that, you can use different stories to represent your mission. That would help as well. And lastly, that humanizing your mission and your charity. So like having a figure in your narrative, like somebody that your audience can connect with, always helps. The conflicts that you're trying to address, the problem that you're trying to address, like make it relatable and urgent. Like as I said before, like we have a lot of information going at everybody in all directions. So like everything that you do, like emphasize the impact that it has on people's lives, on communities, or on whatever your cause is. And also showcase how you are making a positive difference to your community, to the people. Like, you know, show your supporters, show your visitors that you are also helping that. And again, like you should craft your narrative always on that human side, on the emotional side, on hope, on inspiration, on like those feelings, like, you know, that would actually get people like engaging with you. And who are you trying to reach? Who are you talking to? Because like you need to understand your audience, otherwise you can't tell a good story. Who are you talking to is, I think, is the most important question that you should ask yourself even before you start crafting anything. Like different groups have different needs, have different interests and reasons to engage with your organization. Also, when you segment, when you know who you're talking to, you can tailor your message. Like we're gonna go through a few of those groups in the next slide, but like obviously millennials have a completely different understanding and completely different engagement attraction than, you know, somebody older. So we definitely need to understand who you're talking to, who you're trying to bring to engage with you when you're crafting your message, because then you're going to understand their motivations and values. Like people are way more likely to engage and donate when they feel they have this personal connection with the cause. So how do you do that? How do you actually understand who your audience is? Like, why are people supporting you? So what aspects of the cause resonate with them? This is one of like these two questions. If you can answer that, you will know your audience a little bit better. So, but why? Like why? And I think this slide's like, I know there's a lot of text, but like this is why we should try to understand our audiences. Like younger donors, like millennials, they focus on impact. So when you're talking to them, like highlight stories of people whose lives have been changed by your work. And millennials are on social media 24/7. So leveraging your social media channels, leveraging Instagram and TikTok will be crucial for this audience. When you're talking to older donors, like they will relate to stories that make a real difference, but also they relate to stories that have a longevity. So you can use email newsletters. You can use like personal letters. People still, I love getting stuff on the post from Ronald McDonald's and from Concern because I support them as well. So I love seeing the stories. I love reading the narratives and all that. So understand your audience is key for here. But also, if you're talking to corporates, if you're talking to businesses, you have to have a different story, like a different narrative. It's the same story, but it's portrayed differently. And volunteers as well, like me, volunteers usually give away their time because they have a personal reason. So tap into that, like understand what the reasons are when you're talking to them. So visual content. And I know that a lot of people just worry that, oh, I don't have budget for visual content. There's loads of free tools out there. at the end of this presentation, like you guys can scan a QR code and reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I can give you many free tools that you can use to create cool videos, cool images, and all that. And just from the top of my head, like Canva is brilliant. You can do all that in Canva. You can create really cool graphics, really cool visuals, reels, and everything. But also Adobe Spark, if you really want to do some nice social media videos and website videos, is another free tool. Like visual content, I cannot emphasize enough how powerful visual content is to help you tell the story, to help you evoke emotions, to help you get people to understand any complex messages quickly and effectively. So the visual advantage in storytelling. So like, again, visuals tap into emotions that help you convey a story, help your audience to engage with you. They help you craft, to deliver complex messages, and you can do it on a budget. I see a raised hand. I'll just finish the slide and I'll take a look at the Q&A because I see there's 2 questions there. And again, just going back to user-generated content, like visuals on your user-generated content, like I showed the Pieta stuff, like it's so powerful. Like I cannot emphasize enough. So use those videos, use those photos, use those stories in a visual way. And again, like free design tools like Canva and Adobe Spark that I mentioned before, you can do some beautiful stuff using those 2 platforms, and they're free. Volunteers, again, we're going to touch on collaborations later, but your volunteers, you might have photographers, you might have videographers, you might have copywriters within your volunteers. Tap into them, ask them if they can help you with whatever you need at the moment. Reuse and repurpose. This is key for marketing. Just because you used a photo before doesn't mean you can't use it again. You can maybe change the messaging, you can overlay text on the photo, but reuse your content. It's never too much. Like obviously you're not going to use over and over and over again in the same week, let's say, but you can use multiple times every year. And for different platforms as well. You can use it in your social media now, and then you can repurpose them again for your newsletter or something like that. And I'll just go on the Q&A here.
So that's just some of the
Okay.
earlier on, yeah.
But somebody raised a hand before. Elizabeth, I think it was.
I think that was a mistake, but someone has put in the chat that Adobe Express Pro is also available free of charge to register.
Yeah, it is.
Profits, so that's some good advice there.
It is. It's brilliant. But you need a little bit of education. You need to understand like Adobe. And again, if you go on LinkedIn, you go through LinkedIn Learning, they have available courses on Adobe, and also Udemy sometimes have some free courses. And if you actually reach out to them saying that you are a charity, they might help you with costs as well. Social media. And I've touched on that last year, but just to make sure that's like whoever didn't join, social media is key for nonprofit marketing, like platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat's not that much, but again, like the younger generation, they communicate through Snapchat, and also LinkedIn. Like they offer incredible opportunities for nonprofits to connect with supporters, to share the stories, and to drive action. Each platform has different strengths. Each platform has different audience. So again, understand your audience, understand where they are, so you can actually target properly. A few strategies to actually leverage social media and create really good shareable and reshareable content. So again, your visuals, eye-catching images and videos. Stop the thumb scrolling. Like we're all very busy. We spend a lot of time on digital platforms. So like if you have something really powerful on screen, it will stop a constant thumb scrolling. Interactive content as well. Like ask questions, run polls, run quizzes, surveys, engage with your audience, but respond to them as well. Don't just let them talk. Don't just ask a question and just leave it to it. Just like engage with your audience with everything that you do. Hashtags, key. What is your mission? Who are you talking to? Use those on your hashtags as well. Going back to user-generated content, I'm never gonna stop talking about that because it's relevant content. It's content that other people will engage. As I said, like if I have a problem many other people might have the same problem. And if you're helping solve that problem, all these other people that maybe didn't know who you are will know if I share my story. Engage with your supporters. Ask them to share the experiences. And now I'm going to touch on websites because first impressions matter. And your website needs to be visually appealing. Your website needs to be informative, but it also needs to be engaging. It needs to tell stories. And again, visuals, visuals, visuals. If that's like, I love that part of the website of Focus Ireland, because they could have all this data in one of those boring graphics or in a text. And look how they did it. Like, it's interactive, it's engaging, it's cool. It just makes you stop and say, okay, wow. So, 410 young people were supported. Like 7,500 customers have access to their advice and information services. Like, those numbers, those visuals, they make those numbers stand out. They make me stop and they make me want to dive deeper into all that. And also their donate button. Like, Focus Ireland is all blue, yellow, and white, and the donate button is always red. So you always go to it. Your eyes immediately go to it. Have a really clear message on your website. What are you trying to achieve? Who are you trying to help, and why? Accessibility. Accessibility is key. It's going to be law, if I'm not mistaken, next year, that all websites need to be fully accessible. So go before. Like, all your platforms, whatever your website is hosted, gives you options of putting alt text and images, gives you options of like segmenting, of targeting, and all that. Use all those different tools to make your websites as accessible as possible. You have readers. When you're doing a video, use captions. So just think of how you can actually reach more people. It's making a website more accessible. And also, please, please, please make sure your website is mobile friendly. We're all spent too much time on our phones. So if your website doesn't look good on a phone, they're not going to go back. How can you make your website more engaging? And how can you tell stories on your website? So the same stories that I'm telling you guys to try to get from your volunteers, from your supporters, from the people that you help, use them on your website. They can be different than your social media. They can be longer than what you have on your social media. So what you can do is, for instance, if you have a video of somebody telling the story, put 30 seconds of it on your social media and put the whole video on your website. Drive people from your social channels to your website. Drive people from your website to donate or to your social channels. Make it a full circle. Make it your storytelling, make your mission and everything that you do to flow throughout all the channels that you're trying to target. You can incorporate storytelling through website navigation. So like, you can have, instead of having like something like blog, you can have something about hear from our people, hear from our supporters, hear from the people we helped. And people would just go there because they want to see that. They want to know what you're doing. Again, your website can host long form of everything. You can host a longer blog because people are there and they usually spend more time on the website than yourself spend on social media. You can have a longer video. You can also host all those little details that are so complex to explain. You can have them on your website, and you can make infograms. You can make like different sketches. There's so much you can do on your website to make it engaging and interactive. And also, always going back to focus, always make your donation as simple, as easy, and as user-friendly as possible. So obviously use a secure page, but also make it prominent. In every page on your website, you should have your donation button. It's never too much. Data. So as I said before, data might be very scary for most people, especially if you don't know how to gather data, what to look for in data. So I'm just going to run quickly because I am conscious of time. I'm going to run quickly on what kind of data you should be tracking, what kind of data is key for you to be tracking, and what it will give you. So data can help you define and redefine your strategy. It can help you make informed decisions. It can help you understand better your distribution channels. It can help you improve your engagement tactics. It can help you track your success or notes. Like it can help it show you that you're doing something wrong, that is not working. It helps you continuously improve. Like data is key if you want to keep improving your message, if you want to keep improving your donations, if you want to keep improving your engagements. Data is the little tool that's going to give you that. So what should you measure? Click-through rates. So even here in Deloitte, like we are very, very focused on click-through rates, because click-through rates measures the percentage of users that actually click through a link that you shared. A high click-through rates indicates that your story, that whatever you're sharing, is actually resonating with them. A low click-through rate shows you that it's not. If talking on websites, how long do they spend on your website? And again, there'll be Google, like they have many tools, many ways that you can now actually track that. Longer time on site, longer scrolling on your website, on your web page, shows that your audience is engaged, shows that they're reading everything, shows that they are consuming your stories in depth, which means that they're more likely than not to actually support your cause. Social media shares. Social media followers, and I know this might sound awkward, like, or weird, but like the number of followers that you have doesn't matter as much as the number of engagements that you have on each post. You can have hundreds of thousands of followers, but if only 2 people engage with your posts, why? Like, what are the other ones doing? So it means that your stories are not compelling. Your stories are not actually engaged. Your audience is not engaging with your stories. So you need to change your messaging. Conversion rates. So when you ask people to click on a link, when you ask people to donate, when you ask people to make to have an action, like your CTAs, your call to actions, actually drive that as well. So conversion rates measure the percentage of visitors that complete what you're asking them to do, like making a donation, signing up to a newsletter, or something like that. So like, again, high conversion rate shows that your story is effective and it is driving action. Collaborations, and I know I've touched on this a couple of times, but collaborations can amplify your storytelling efforts. Partnering with influencers, other nonprofits, businesses can bring so many benefits to organizations, because those partnerships go beyond just reach. The partnerships they amplify your stories. They, like, for instance, like if you use an influencer, like a well-known celebrity endorsing your cause, will significantly boost your storytelling impact. Their social media reach, their influence can bring attention to your mission. Like if a famous actor or somebody like advocates for clean water nonprofits, will create a ripple effect reports. We know that because water aid uses a lot of that. Expanding reach. Like you can do a joint campaign with another nonprofit. Like if you know another organization that has a similar mission, or that your missions align somehow, that you complete each other, like align with them. Like there's no point, there's no harm in that. Like the organizations focus on child education, like my run a joint campaign showcasing the combined impact of their efforts, and that is going to emphasize the strength of your messaging and how important it is to work together. It also enhances authenticity. Like when influencers or businesses actually align with your cause, it demonstrates external support and credibility, and it's good for you and it's good for them. So it's a win-win. Again, going to the mutual benefits of cross-promotion, for instance, like enhancing corporate social responsibility. So business like to engage with charities, with nonprofits, because it impacts their social efforts. Exposure, like you do get access, like this, for instance, like the social impact week, like I'm pretty sure you guys learned so much, and it is about exposure, it is about knowledge and all that. But also you get access to resources. Like I know that Adrian and Claudia, they're organizing the trip to Uganda now, the volunteers to Uganda, and they go to communities and they teach them how to do business better, how to actually organize themselves, how to organize their communities better. So like partnering with organizations actually help you a lot. And also shared audience. Like when you partner with someone or an organization, like you're going to be tapping into their audience, they're going to be tapping into yours. So that message is just going to go broader. But also, I'm just going to go back there a little bit because, again, collaborations, like your volunteers might help you so much as well. Or even people that you are supporting, they might have skills that you can tap into that will help you with your digital efforts. So just think of that. Measuring impact and success. I know that when we talk about nonprofits, like we always think that donations should be key, but I think we always need to think and we need to look at the awareness and engagement as well. So like when you're trying to measure a campaign, for instance, like start by clearly defining your KPIs. So like, what are you trying to reach? What is the main goal of it? Put a number on it. I always say, if you put a number behind something, it will help you visualize and it'll help you track. So like, okay, so KPIs can include like increased donations, growth on your website traffic, higher engagement on your social media, grow your email subscribers, click-through rates on a content. These are all KPIs that should be used per campaign, not in overall. But also, you need to make sure that your KPIs aligned with your overarching goals. So, for instance, if your primary goal is to raise awareness, then tracking website traffic and social media engagement is more relevant than anything else. And then like the metrics, like diverse metrics, like awareness, volunteer sign up, recurring supporters. Like if you have people coming back for your to help you, this is such a crucial metric that sometimes we just forget about. And also building a community. Like how many followers do you get? How much is your followers increasing? And like from that, how much are they engaging with you? How much are they engaging with your content? How much are they also sharing content? So like that community building piece is so important. So like, as you can see, like measuring impact and success goes well beyond the financial contributions. Like consider your diverse metrics, demonstrate real world impact through your storytelling, and showcase as well the effects of your work. Like how you're building trust, how you're engaging your supporters, how you're inspiring people to stay committed to your cause. Like these are all invaluable tools for you. And just last but not least, just some ethical considerations, because I think especially if you're talking about donations, if you're talking about sharing people's stories, we need to have a very clear understanding that transparency and authenticity and respecting privacy and dignity is key. So transparency builds trust. So if you, I don't know if you guys remember the Red Cross, when the American Red Cross went to Haiti after the 2010 earthquake, they faced so much criticism because the way they're handling funds. Like some reports suggested that substantial portions of the donations were actually spent on admin costs and not helping the population. And the story that they were telling was completely different than that. So like, as you can see, like not being honest, not being transparent, it's only harming your cause. Again, going back to that user-generated content, like authentic stories, real stories will help you connect with your audience. It's showing that your stories are real, they're coming from real people, make them relatable and reflect the experiences that you're giving to others. And then respecting, like if you ask somebody to share their story, you need to make sure that they know where this is going. They know how this is going to be used. They know all the platforms that their faces or their stories are going to be showing. And don't dramatize. Don't make it like sensationalism. Don't do anything like that. Like don't exploit people's stories. Don't exploit their the hardship that they've been through. Make sure that the stories that you're telling always focus on the resilience, on empowerment, or making a positive change, or the positive change that you're actually making. And my last point is feedback. So online, like you always have to be prepared for feedback, good and bad. So make sure that you have a plan in place. When you share something, like try to think on your keyboard warriors, for instance, like what can they be saying about your content? don't not share because you're afraid of it, but just have a plan in place in case you do get negative feedback and just in case you do get some backlash. And but also when you do get negative feedback, if it's not just from those words, if it's like a good negative feedback, use to improve your story, use to improve your message, use to improve your mission. And that's my final point. I know that I talked a lot, and I know that you guys must have some questions. So I am going to stop now and I'm going to open for questions. And again, as I said at the beginning, link in with me if you have questions that we might not have time to answer. We have just about 9 minutes. Just like scan this code, you go straight to my LinkedIn and you can ask me any further questions and you can ask me anything else. I know that we've explored a lot today. I know that this was very quick, and I know that I've tried to cover as much as I possibly could. But like, or even if you just want to network, like,
Yeah.
you know, we can always have a virtual couple sometimes, and I'm more than happy to do that. But yeah, questions?
Right, yeah, so we'll have a look at if someone shared their DOCA study, have a page on ethical communications. And also just to mention that the slides from today will be shared and the recording via Business in the Community at the end of the week, so you will receive them. So getting into the questions, how often would you recommend a communications team revisit their strategy?
Like if it's an overall, like if it's your organization strategy, like we revisit ours, like our overall strategy, like every year. So like when you do your end of year reviews, it's a really good time to review your strategy. But if you're talking about campaigns, like metrics, so like what are your KPIs, so like review those and keep evolving your campaigns. So let's say you're running a fundraising campaign, so you're running that for 4 weeks. After 2 weeks, take a look, see the metrics, see if there's anything that you can improve, see if there's any pushes that you need to give. So like it all depends on what kind of communication strategy you're talking about. Overarching strategy annually, anything else per campaign.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So then we have another one. So how much should we emphasize the personal story in business to business communications, which we think are led more by corporate CSR or ESG content?
Even when you're dealing with corporates, you're still talking to people. So your cause is someone's cause, is someone's problem that you're trying to solve. So that personal story is as important when you're talking to a corporate as it is when you're talking to me. The difference is on a corporate world, they would like to see more data usually. They would like to understand also, and corporates like to understand how their support can actually make them look good. Mm-hmm. So try to give them the personal story backed with data, backed with what you are expecting, being very clear what you're expecting from their corporates, and also what can you give to them.
Yeah, right, okay. Another one in, how do we tailor our storytelling per platform? So in this instance, with this charity, they find it easy to know what Instagram followers respond well to or need from them. But we find it harder to know what people expect from a charity on LinkedIn. At the minute, we focus a lot of time on corporate partnerships, but could we be using LinkedIn more effectively?
Definitely. Sorry, I mentioned Instagram, right? Instagram is snappy, it's short stories and all that. Like if you go on LinkedIn, you can use there's a tab on LinkedIn, there's like life at whatever organization is. So you can have like life at Deloitte, you have life at Focus Ireland, and you can share longer stories there, and you can put asks there as well. So like leveraging LinkedIn, leveraging all the different tabs that you have on LinkedIn would definitely help your LinkedIn efforts. But also LinkedIn, tag different businesses. Like if you get a business support from, let's say, Deloitte, tag Deloitte in a post, because then other companies, other organizations that actually are associated with Deloitte or have dealings with Deloitte, they will see that post as well, and that increases your reach. Hopefully that answered the question.
So then another one in, which form of storytelling has the most impact and easiest to set up? So which is the magic wand?
Again, depends on your audience. Like blogs are easy to set up on your websites, but if you don't have a good image, your blogs are just going to stay on your website. They can be reverted to social. Social needs to be shorter stories. So like, who are you talking to? Talking to the younger population, like, millennials, short, snappy videos, always. If you're talking to corporates, have that short, snappy video backed by a report. Not too long, because nobody has much time nowadays. If you are talking to different organizations, they want to partner, show them through quotes, for instance, how much you have benefiting your community and how much linking with them can actually help them benefit your community and you benefit their community. So again, it all depends on your audience, on who you're talking to. Like blogs, my view, but I'm a writer by trade, blogs are the easiest bit of content to create. Videos are more engaging.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, I'm going to stick to two last questions because there's some commonality here. So the first one is top tips for organizations that don't have a dedicated communications team or anybody maybe with responsibility for that.
Tap into your volunteers. I'm pretty sure somebody from your volunteering base have experience in communications. If not, LinkedIn have resources, LinkedIn Learning have resources, Google have resources, Udemy have resources that can help with strategy. So like put on a Google search, how to make a communication strategy for nonprofits, and you're going to get many, many resources. But again, go back to your mission. Like, what are you trying to achieve? What is the core points for your charity, for your organization? Like, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? Because that would actually influence your communication strategy.
Yeah, okay. That question you asked there, that would be a good one to challenge ChatGPT with. People could throw it in there and see what comes out.
Definitely, yeah, why not? Like, I haven't used ChatGPT for that, but like that is a very good idea. Like, you can even try to do it quickly now, but yeah.
Okay, and then the final question, apologies that we're not going to get to all of them, but as I said, we'll share this recording, and Priya kindly has said she's happy to field more questions. So where should an organization begin when starting to analyze key performance indicators?
What are your key performance indicators? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Like, when you answer this question, you actually know what matters. So as I said before, like, what is the key points that you're trying to make? Like, are you trying to raise awareness for your cause? Are you trying to raise funds for your cause? Are you trying to increase your followers base? When you can answer this question, you can target then the right audience, and then you know which metrics you need to track. Like, if you're raising awareness, obviously engagements and donations are key metrics. If you are trying to run a campaign, is actually, like, how many people are following you. Like, I go back to the Ice Bucket Challenge, like, 2.4 million people in 24 hours took up on it. Like, this is your metric. This is insane. Like, I think it was like 17 million people in total took that up.
Yeah.
In a very short period of time. Like, Bill Gates did it.
Yeah.
So like, it's your KPI depends on what you're trying to do.
Okay, so we're just at time, so I will make sure. Thank you so much, Pri. It was brilliant and great feedback coming through there. We'll make sure the slides and recording are shared. Pri, you mentioned some tools. Is it Udemy? Is that what you went?
Udemy, it's a digital learning platform. They have many free resources, but also I know the guys are very, very good when talking about charities and nonprofits. So like, if you reach out, they have full digital marketing training courses. I don't know, like something like 24 lessons or something like that. So reach out to them and see if they'll give it to you for free, because if you're a registered charity, why wouldn't they? LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah.
Reach out to LinkedIn as well. I know that they do a lot on the charity side of things as well, so you might be able to tap into free resources.
Great. Well, we might share some of those resources in the wrap-up mail from Joe if this is in the community as well, and you should get that before the end of this week. But thank you all again so much for joining, and particularly Pri for sharing your...
No, thank you. Thanks for inviting me again. And guys, like, I really do look forward to seeing your storytelling adventures and endeavors on digital platforms now. And do feel free to reach out if you have any questions, or if you want me to take a look at something for you.
Brilliant. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thanks a million. Bye.